anytime that I'm rolling around the city, I wish I had this shirt on that says "End Gun Violence."
My name is Amanda Parazo. I have a physical disability from a bullet hitting my spine, so I know the very real impact of having to live in a wheelchair.
Somebody like me, like you, like this other person down the street, it could happen to anybody. May 19th of 2021, I was the victim of a random gun shooting. Being in a wheelchair just really kind of threw me into this advocacy. I'm really happy that my colleagues and my friends and family are showing their support for all of the victims and family members that are in this walk and roll with us. Jefferson is my home. I'm an occupational therapist here in the occupational therapy department at the university. I'm also a patient. I love when I have PT and OT. Time flies just so fast. You don't really get a chance to think about, this past year and then the past 2-3 years. It's a really important time for me. It's a nice time to reflect. I have my mail room over here. My time of injury, I look at it like the death of who I was, because my whole world changed from that moment. A contractor come in to get my kitchen sink modified so that I can roll under it. Learning how to be independent at home. I like to consider my condo smart technology. So I have a robot vacuum. Alexa, turn off the living room light. This is where I have my laundry. It helps that they're side by side. Completely new body. Not fun. A new life.
Any of our lives could change in an instant. I'm Julie Cote. I am one of the therapists that has had the chance to work with Amanda. Our goals when she was first here were more, how are you going to complete all your daily functions? How are you going to perform your self-care?
My toilet here I can transfer onto. Here I have a shower transfer bench. The closets in my bedroom, they're really just perfect for me.
How are you going to complete all your daily functions? How are you going to get dressed? How are you going to, move yourself from your wheelchair to your bed?
Transfers have gotten so much easier.
How are you going to get around with a wheelchair in the community? Things in terms of daily living take a lot longer, getting ready for work, getting to work.
So I pop that on. This is the controller. Get around the city, it can go about 6 miles an hour. I use that every day to get to work, to and from. To look at accessibility, the curb cuts around campus.
It was important to me to get out of the home, return to my normal, at least partially normal routine. Because I was sitting at home, looking out the window, watching people pass by, going to their jobs, getting coffee. I was very jealous in a way that I didn't have my old body.
You got it.
Almost exactly 3 years ago, I came here with the chair of the occupational therapy department and my occupational therapist, and we toured the campus, going around the route that I would take to the different buildings I teach in. How can I return back to work and be successful? Having the supports that I did helped me feel more normal.
She heard the gunshot and then knew she had been hit, and knew that she knew what was coming because of the knowledge that she has. Being an occupational therapist, it's a powerful story. My name is Kathy Pearsall. I'm the chair of the Department of Occupational Therapy. I hired her to be what we call an academic fieldwork coordinator, where she is working with students and placing them out in the field.
Thank you. Have a good day.
My looked at the world through an OT lens before my injury.
I've been an occupational therapist for 14 years.
Now I see a lot more.
Come into the classroom in a wheelchair, even though they're all occupational therapy students, what are they thinking? I'm an open book, so I want to share my story with these students.
It's like the ultimate fieldwork experience, seeing the step-by-step process, start from an acute rehab, what that journey looks like for somebody with a physical disability. That's been really important for me to show people.
You know, her injury was a couple years ago. She returned to us sports and fitness related because she had some hardware from her spine removed. Wanting to return to tennis, wanting to be able to bend and rotate and reach a little bit easier. And also to learn to use long leg braces.
I use a walker with those braces. I can ambulate throughout my condo.
They have locks at the knees that basically keep her legs in an extended position. Balancing from her hips and her trunk, kind of using her core muscles to lift and advance her leg forward one at a time in a locked position.
So I'm like so glad that I can stand at the kitchen sink and clean instead of like this into the sink. It's very freeing. And right now I feel like the world sees me operating normally and I'm back to normal and I'm back to old Amanda and I'm doing good and I can do everything independently. Important for people to recognize that there's another layer behind this. I'm not very open and vulnerable in saying
I'm struggling with chronic pain, post-traumatic stress disorder.
I'm emotionally over it. I've just been crying since I've gotten home.
First moment I experienced pain, I can remember in acute care. Even though I have no sensation, I can't feel temperature, I can't feel touch, I can't move at all. But as I was laying in the bed, it just felt like a trash compactor was pushing down on me. Most people have experienced like hand goes numb and then you shake it out and it's better. I have that feeling constantly. On top of that, like these electric shocks that will just go down the side of my body randomly. Like I could be in the middle of teaching and I get like this electric shock that just sends waves down my legs, or I might be driving and I have to just bear down with it. And it's constant. This pain is when I wake up, the first moment I open my eyes. The journey is very difficult.
Giant holes in the sidewalk that I need to get over in a manual wheelchair. And today fell out of my wheelchair and into the street.
Navigate being a full-time professor and having a spinal cord injury and using a wheelchair on a campus in a city. Huge cognitive load on me too. So to go about my day and encounter a lot of environmental barriers and then have to go teach for 3 hours. People think, you know, I'm doing all of these things, but then as soon as I encounter one difficult thing, it's a lot on my mind. I also am really bad at asking for help. I've always been that way. I'm trying to be better at asking for help just in any way with an accommodation. Gun violence is real. To talk to the outside world and explain what happened to me and how it can happen to anybody. I don't like feeling like a victim. I don't like people to think that I'm helpless. And I carry all of that inside of me.
It takes a lot of therapy and time and patience.
Like playing tennis, I don't think about my pain.
Write a summary of what you observed.
When I'm teaching my lectures, I don't think about pain. Just having and cultivating relationships, that's so important to me, making sure I'm staying connected to all my friends and all my family's support. It's because that's really what has kept me going and has kept me moving. On top of the advocacy that I'm doing with my students, Amanda's Army to fight for advocacy and accessibility.